Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Wellness Warriors podcast. I am Coach Suzanne Penn, and with me is Coach Suzanne Baker.
Hello, everybody.
So, today we want to get into something that I don't know if people necessarily think about very often is our original design, how we are designed, and how that works with weight management, weight loss. And so we just wanted to take some time to talk about that. So our bodies, and I think people know this, but I think we kind of, when it comes to weight loss, we just don't, I don't know if we have selective memory at that point, but our bodies were made for balance. If you think of everything in about how you're created in your body, we're balanced, and our systems and how they were designed to work in a balance. Now, life and what we do in life takes our bodies out of balance in many ways. And one of those things is weight loss. When we want to lose weight, because we're like, oh, we're at, yeah, I guess being overweight could be an out of balance thing. But then we take this extreme, like most of the weight loss stuff that I've seen in the last forever, I guess, decades, has been these extremes. And then we wonder why things don't work. And one of the extremes is our body. So, like, if we diet and we're taking our caloric intake way down, our body's going to compensate for that. Our bodies were designed for balance and survival. So, if your body thinks it's starving, which technically, let's see, I'm just talking about women because men would be different. But with women, we really should be getting anywhere from 14 to 1600 calories to just function, like to have normal body functions. And many of these programs are taking people to 800 and 1000 calories. So typically when you hit 1200, below that, right? When you get below 1200, then that's usually when your body's like, whoa, there's a problem. We're starving. And then your metabolism's going to slow down. You are going to, yeah, I hear this with, just the other day with it was with one of the extreme programs that's out there. And someone said to me, yeah, but it seems to work for people. And I'm like, well, if you starve yourself, you will lose weight. You will, but it's not sustainable. Not to mention, you're breaking down lean muscle mass at the same time. So you might be losing some fat, but you're losing muscle too. And again, our muscle is more metabolically active. So our metabolisms are actually higher when we have more muscle mass, So if you're depleting that, that's going to also lower your metabolism. But our body goes into survival. And I know some people are like, oh, no, it doesn't, but it does. And then it starts to affect other areas of our body. And so then when we decide, like, hey, I'm done with this diet, because who can eat that way? You're going to have issues like your hair, your skin, your nails, like you're going to have a lot of issues coming up. Your skin's not going to be very well. Your hair is probably going to fall out. You're going to have a lot more gut issues because you're messing with your microbiome at that point. And that leads to a whole nother thing. Like I could do a whole nother podcast on,
Oh yeah.
so so then when you add, so like, let's say, and this actually happened to me, so I'm kind of speaking from my own experience as well, because I did do one of these extremes, and yes, those things happened. And the body wants to then protect you, right? Because it's also designed for survival. So when we start to eat again, even healthy food, because this is what I did, I was eating healthy food and was gaining weight really rapidly. And it went above and beyond where I had started on that extreme diet. So I soared past that. And I was not eating a bunch of junk. And that's because my body then was like, whoa, we need to help you not, we need to protect you from starving again in case that happens again. So we're not only going to bring back all the weight because we're going to go to a set point. So your body does have an idea of what your weight, what it wants your weight to be, especially if you've been a certain weight for a while, which I had been before that extreme diet. But then it was like, well, we're going to give you a little extra because we really want to protect you. So actually, the gaining the weight was my body loving me, like saying,
Yeah.
we want you to be healthy and protect you, which then, but because it adds so much, it doesn't necessarily keep me healthy at that point because then a whole lot of other stuff. So it's
Mhm.
that, and it's more because it's that extreme shifting. So I'm going from this low to this high. It's no, it's not stable. And so
Yeah.
that's why they say slow and steady wins the race because our bodies can sustain that. And in that process, this is also part of our original design, our bodies become recompositioned. So then we've already lost the muscle, right? So our body, even though I might have been the same weight, I was actually fatter because I had lost lean muscle, and it takes time and effort to build up muscle. So could I build it up again? Yes, and I have because our bodies can really rebound when we do the right things for them. But you know, that's why those diets don't work. And another thing is people will try to lose weight, but they're not sleeping. So yes, we should get 7 to 8 hours. Some, you talk to some experts, they say you should get up to 9 hours, of sleep. But 7 to 8 is what the majority of people out there will say you should get. A lot of people are getting way less than that. And then they're wondering, I'm doing the, trying to eat healthy. I'm moving my body, but I can't lose weight. Well, if you're not sleeping, your cortisol is high. So part of original design, your cortisol is high, your glucose levels go up, your sugar, your insulin levels go up. Insulin is not going to let you release any kind of fat. It's a storage hormone. So we've got to think about, what we're doing. So honestly, a lot of the weight loss experts or like weight management experts, not the ones that are trying to push any kind of diet on people, they will say you really can't work on weight loss until you get your sleep in order because you're just going to have this really big battle. And it's, again, there are ways that this can be adjusted, but you can't get around it. If you're not sleeping and your cortisol's high, you're going to have that belly fat. Postmenopausal women. So this is another thing that can be its own podcast, but just want to briefly go into it. As your estrogen goes down, your estradiol, um, our body still needs that, right? So it will, if you're not on hormone replacement therapy, there's estrone, and I may be pronouncing that wrong, but that's how I'm pronouncing it. Estrone, it's a weaker estrogen, and it is formed in fat tissue, adipose tissue. So when we are postmenopausal, our body is actually loving us because it's like, oh, well, we need estrogen. So you're not making the estradiol anymore. We have this other one. Thing is, it's formed in fat tissue. So what are you going to have more of? It's going to produce more fat tissue. So, or, more fat because it wants to produce more of this estrone that you need. So for me, I actually did do hormone replacement therapy and has seen a great, along with other habits that I've had, I have seen where that belly fat has diminished because now my body doesn't have to try to make all this estrone because I have the estradiol in my system. So again, how our bodies are made, right? It's we're always trying to get around that. The other thing is when your estrogen is low, it can I gotta make sure I'm reading this right because all these ups and downs, I get them mixed up sometimes. So when your estrogen is low, your insulin resistance, or yes, yeah, it affects your insulin sensitivity. So your insulin actually will elevate. So think of that. Then again, more fat. It makes sense because if your estrogen is low, you want this estrone, right? So how do you store fat with insulin? So it all makes, it all goes together. And yet we're still thinking we can go, we can beat it, we can beat the system. And
You
it's
can. Hmm.
yeah, it's not actually possible to beat the system. Unless, I mean, it's not beating the system, but when we start working with what were originally designed. I was actually have been reading stuff because I intermittent fast and I do it a little
It's
differently
great.
than some people because, again, I've made it so that it's not because a lot of people take intermittent fasting and make it more like it's a diet. And I'm
Mhm.
like, no, 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 this can't be another one of those. It has to be, a lifestyle of things. It can't just be another diet mindset kind of thing. And in all of my learning about things, gathering my information, making my own modified, I call it the Suzanne intermittent fasting plan because I do it a little differently than some people, but it has been
Yeah.
very effective for me. And but we people in our ancestry back in the day didn't eat 3 meals a day. A lot of times they ate just one, some two. It wasn't till way later in time that more, I guess when they wanted to start selling more cereal and and stuff, they were like, you need to eat breakfast, these 3 meals a day. And even when there were some cultures that did do sort of the 3 meal a day, way different than how we do it here
Mhm.
now. It was like they only ate like a very minuscule amount in those other meals, and then they had, their bigger meal, like, but we make every meal a big meal or a square, your 4 square meals. Like they did not have square meals way back then, but
the
think about,
portions are the portions are significantly bigger here in the United States anyway.
yeah.
Don't know about
So
other countries, but
so
here.
again, it's our original design. We weren't designed necessarily to be eating all day. I call it ABES. We have ABES now in the United States. Always be eating something.
That's a good one.
And it's, and that's true. We're always snacking. Like when people talk about, oh, eat every 2 hours. Actually, if you think about our original design, eating every 2 hours really does not align with our original design. And
Mhm.
I mean, they, so the intermittent fasting kind of made more sense to me. And I'll do a whole, we can do a podcast on intermittent fasting. I don't want to
Yeah,
go that
that would be
into that.
great.
I don't want to
I
go
have a lot
into
of people
that too,
asking questions.
yeah,
Hmm.
I don't want to go into that too deep, but at the same time, with that, you give your digestion time to rest and for
Hmm.
your body to heal. And this is how our body was designed. So when you give
Yeah,
that rest time from eating and your cells are, more healing and things like that, what a beautiful way we were designed. But we go against our original design all the time and then wonder why things don't work out for our health, for
that's
our
right.
weight, all of that. So just being mindful of, was our body designed for that? And even psychologically, our brains you know were made, our brain controls the hunger, our gut and brain. So see, again, they talk to each other and people think, oh, it's just my gut or it's just my brain or it's both. And so when we work with our bodies the way they were made, we will struggle less. So,
That's right.
and we can get into more of those in more detail, like with the about menopause, about intermittent fasting. We'll definitely dive into those deeper into other podcasts for sure. So
That sounds great. I'm just glad to be back on the air again. It's been a long time since we've done an episode, and this is we're going to get this out as a regular thing, y'all. I mean, we did take a break, a long break, but we don't need to do that because we just love bringing all this information to you, this tidbits, things that we are learning, along in our own health journeys. Everybody has a health journey. There's not one single person out there that's not struggling with some form of health issue. So you can go down those rabbit holes, but we're here to not let you go down that and bring it to you.
yes, yes. So was there anything you wanted to
Yeah,
bring to the message? And again, just if you think what you're doing is not working, for your weight management or weight loss, you need to start looking at, is this fitting with how my body is designed to work? And once you start to work with it, you're going to find um, that you're going to have those results. And it also means getting that out of your head about losing more than losing these extreme amounts at one time, because that's not how our body was designed either. So
we have to, try to understand we're not broken. We are not
no,
broken. The
no, we're just working against ourselves,
Yeah,
Eh, we're not
which
broken. We if when you start working with how you were created to be,
yeah, which is
then you find things start to turn around.
Yeah, and that's a good lead into what I was going to talk about. The original design is the Bible offers a complete whole plan of our life, all the principles, and I have a few that I wanted to read out with a few scriptures. But it's a guide. The Bible is an entire guide as to how we should be living. And a lot of people, kind of tend to they'll hear scriptures here and there. I think the most um, favorite one of people is, our body is a temple and we should treat it as a temple. But we forget, it's like, well, the food just tastes so good. But, God didn't, we're not supposed to be eating all this sugar and processed foods. That wasn't how they did it back then. But that was First Corinthians 6:19-20. And it encourages us to honor God by how we treat our bodies and what we put in our mouths that go into our bodies. I think that's an important one as well. That would be number one. But eating with gratitude is another one. For everything God created is good, right? And nothing is to be rejected if it is received with thanksgiving. That's why we, bless our food every time we sit down to have a meal. We're thanking God for this creation, He gave us. We're actually recognizing God's provisions for us. And I am a big believer in a big fan of not doing just one particular food group. Okay. Like, I mean, you can, if you want to eat meat for a couple of days. I don't know. I just don't believe in eliminating all the fruits and vegetables and things. Now, there are some people who are very sensitive to certain fruits, even dairy, eggs. People are super sensitive to those. That could be something you could eliminate, but that's because it's giving you trouble. And then later on, as your body is healing, introduce it back in. If it gives you trouble, take it out. Gluten, oh my gosh, there's so many gluten sensitive people out there. You're one of them. You have gluten, you're down, you're out until it's
Yeah.
out of your system, which takes days.
But remember, it's not gluten now is not
Right.
our food now is not what it was back.
No.
So honestly, a lot of it's not fitting with our original design.
Yeah,
Here's
it's all,
perfect proof of that, you know.
you're right. It's made in a lab. I mean, it's not grown from the earth. Well, it
Yeah.
started out that way, but then it got, well,
I
anyway,
mean,
that's for,
I think they said our food is like the gluten level in a lot of the gluten foods is like 4 times or more
yeah.
what it was back in the day. So
We did an episode on
it's
that,
not the
didn't we?
same.
Yeah, we did
Yeah.
an episode on that. We
It's
need to
it's
go back
it's
and,
yeah, it's not the same. It's not the same.
mhm.
And again, original design, if you change things. And the thing you had said about the temple and about the foods, all foods being good, we have to remember because people will take that and be like, well, see, it says that cake is good. And it's like,
Yeah,
but cake is that's a like we made that. God didn't make that. We made it. He might have made a lot of the ingredients we put in it, but it's not, that's not what we're saying, like it
yeah,
was. And again, do we have time of celebration? Even biblically, they had time of celebration where they may have, but we make celebration everything. And we talked about that too, about how
that's right.
we have a celebration, you know, every day if we wanted to, like, oh, I'm celebrating. I had a good day at work. Let me eat a muffin, let me eat
Yeah.
donuts, somebody's retiring, somebody's birthday, somebody got married, like we're
And that's,
celebrating all the time.
yeah,
And
we
so,
celebrate with food. We do.
yeah.
But
So
that's
again, that's a whole
basically,
different podcast,
yeah.
but we go off
But
on
that's
our rabbit
basically
hole.
what I wanted to say, is just go back to the Bible. I mean, and pull out the scriptures that really pertain to living healthy.
Yeah. So was there anything else you had for us? Oh,
Well, if anybody's interested in hiring either one of us as a health coach, we're available. So we'll help you along your
yes.
journey.
Yeah, definitely send us a message. If you're seeing this on YouTube, you can put a comment down in the comments section. If you want to get a hold of us through our emails, I am radiantbloomyogaandwellness@gmail.com, and you can give yours.
southerngracewellness@gmail.com. And I'm also on Facebook as Southern Grace Wellness.
Yes. And I'm on Facebook as me, Suzanne Penn. Um, so thank you, everyone. Just, yeah, think about how you were designed. You were made beautifully. And when we join in with that way we were designed, there's big changes that can come that are beautiful for our health, our weight management, our minds, everything. So mind, body, spirit. So yes, just continue with working with how you were made.
That's right.
Blessings.